Gemma, and this is a chat with Gemma. So I thought I'd talk about this for the ladies. So if you're a man, unless you get very hot sometimes, or you even get hot flushes, you might like to take this chance to catch up on a little nap. All right, ladies, so many moons ago, I started developing hot flushes. I think I actually started developing them from about 48 years of age, and I didn't know. And so they got worse and worse, and went on HRT, and it pretty much cured them. I went on the natural one. You had to calm it, keep adjusting it, and all of that. But I was able to continue working and living my life and not being sort of tortured and all of that. So I won't go into all the symptoms because I think most of us know or can find out those things. Anyway, I, at that time, found that I had to stop wearing blouses because, wear a shirt like a man would wear a shirt. When I was young, we got dressed in the morning in winter, and you would put on a long sleeve shirt or blouse and your jumper and then your jacket, and off you would go. And I used to think this was really stupid because in the middle of winter to, get out of your pyjamas and put on this cold cotton shirt or blouse was so cold and didn't seem to make you very warm. Perhaps there's a little bit of warmth in a blouse, I don't know. But it was very cold to the touch, and then we'd put the jumper on, we'd feel better. This is stupid. Anyway, that's just how we dressed. Always did it. Stopped going to school, grew out of school and just still wore blouses. And then I got to this hot flush stage, and I couldn't wear blouses because I'd peel off the, undo the jacket, peel off the jumper, and I would have to button, get it over my wrists, get the shirt off. By then I was ready to kill somebody. Probably myself, actually. And, so why did God give women hot flushes? I'll tell you why. It's so that women are reminded what hell's like and not to go there. Anyway, so I'll just give that to you for free. Just my theory. And so I never wore blouses for the next decades. And I would always have underneath a t-shirt, some sort of summer top, even in the middle of the coldest winter, so that I could do this and peel down and be as cool as I could possibly be. And then, after 5 minutes, put everything back on again. And this would be every 25 minutes, day and night. Yes, you couldn't earn, that much punishment like in a lifetime of sins. Anyway, that's just my philosophical thought on the matter. Dreadful, just dreadful. And so I got to the point where I don't know whether I've been going through this or not and just not noticing. But now that I'm old, I just find that, because I always liked the pure wool. My mother used to buy, combination wool and acrylic or pure acrylic, and she didn't have much money, so she'd always buy things like that. But I always found they peeled and, got the little knots on them and looked inferior quality, and they just weren't as warm. So for myself, I always bought myself pure wool jumpers and a lot pure cotton and all the natural fibres. And so that's what I wear. And lately I've been finding, this is just scratching and scratching and scratching and scratching. This is just driving me up the wall. And I'm thinking, is it because I'm old and my skin is more, allergic or sensitive or whatever? Is it because it's the lanolin, or, they've got more lanolin now or less lanolin than before? Is it different sheep they get the wool from? What's going on? And took me a while, but I had this brainwave. Why don't I go back to wearing blouses? And I thought, oh, no, I can't do that, because you can't get them off in a hot flush fast enough. So, thought of that problem. What about if I don't do up the buttons? So I've still got my light top underneath. Don't do the front buttons up. As you can see, the blouse collar comes up back of the neck, all around front of the neck, down my arms. Oh, I'm in heaven. And this is a nice cardigan. This is an Aran sweater from Ireland. A lot of money by the time it gets to Australia. Won't tell you how much. Nice thick woolen cardigan. So it's nice and woolen and cosy in today's 9 degrees night Celsius. So it's nice and cosy and warm, but I'm not getting itchy. So fantastic. And then I thought, oh, I can't, I can just peel all this off when I get a hot flush. I started wearing cardigans as well. And I never wore cardigans when I was young because, I don't know, when you're a feminist, you've got to kind of wear the slightly butch stuff, and cardigans didn't cut the mustard. They were sort of a little bit, I don't know. I wore them when I was a child. Wore them with a dress or a skirt. But as I grew out of, that, I kind of wore mostly trousers and jumpers. And so I've gone back to cardigans because you can undo them quickly. So I can just go like that, and I can also wear the cardigan open, so I get a little bit of that. I'm a little bit warm, but I'm not too warm. So it's working out really well, and I can do them up if I want to, just the buttons of the cardigan, and be nice and cosy and warm until the next hot flush hits. So it's been brilliant. So I give you this information because I'm just here to help. So if you are going through a tough time and you're going through those times when something mundane is just exactly what you want to listen to, the other thing I might be able to help you with is they're always recommending meditation, but there are different kinds of meditation. So when I learnt meditation, it wasn't kind of the perhaps run-of-the-mill type. And I learned it from a lady called Pauline McKinnon. Now, she's a Melbourne lady, and she's written a book called In Stillness, Conquer Fear. Now, she learnt this type of meditation from Ainsley Mears, who wrote the book Relief Without Drugs, which is a very well-known book. He's a Melbourne psychiatrist who found that psychiatry didn't always work, for people like war veterans and that were going through the horrors of, post-traumatic stress, war weariness, that sort of thing. Psychiatry didn't always have good answers for that, so he came up with this type of meditation for that. Now, his book, I probably read that when I was in my mid-20s, which is now something like 45 years ago. I think it had been around for a while before that too, so it's quite an old book. Pretty sure you could still find it though, because it was, well, in Australia anyway, it was a very, very popular book. So he was a Melbourne psychiatrist. He's died, of course, by now. But the method of meditation, you don't use any chants, you don't picture any places, because Dr. Ainsley Mears's, and sorry for anybody who's a nutter for Dr. Ainsley Mears, and you studied him and all of that, because I'm probably going to get things wrong, but his attitude was that all of that stuff was too much work. So he just basically got people to sit. He wanted you to be nice and still, and to sit as symmetrically as possible. Get rid of anything, like injury or anything like that might kind of distract you. And he really got you to just basically let the muscles of the body, throughout the body, relax. So just touch on the different parts of the body in your mind, let them relax, but don't spend too much time on that, because again, you can make a job out of doing that and get stuck on doing it for ages and ages and ages. So just a little bit, and don't worry about that. And then you sit and you don't stop your mind from having thoughts. That's okay if you have thoughts. But at the same time, you don't deliberately think about anything either. So you're not trying to picture anything or think anything. You just let the thoughts go and, basically sit there. And you might sit there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So it doesn't go on and on and on for hours. That's not what he was teaching. Now, he has lots of documentation for the effectiveness of this for even cancer victims, and for, of course, people with severe panic disorder, anxiety disorder, even for depression. So if you want to study that, that's not for me to tell you about. You can look into that. So his book is a little bit hard to understand in places, but he's a lovely man, well worth reading. And Pauline's book, I found a little bit more personable, but still a few places where it's kind of into that vague sort of mind stuff that I found a bit hard to understand. So don't be worried if you don't fully understand it all, because my mind doesn't necessarily work that well with that sort of thing anyway. When I did a little touch of physics at school in some of the lower forms of science, that wasn't for me. Some of that vague stuff like velocity and whatever, I find that very hard to... I like to be able to hold something in my hand, measure it with a ruler, that sort of thing. Some of that stuff I find it hard to get my head around. Anyway, so you could try it. I'm not going to say it's going to, make life fantastic and you'll win Tats Lotto. Not going to say that. But if you want to, you could try it, give it a try. What do you got to lose? See how it works for you. All right, I'll finish there, and I wish you all the best. Bye for now.